Assembled guests, please stand. Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Cindy Kero, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Dr. Richard Davis.
Hare mai rā, te karango te rānei e. Hare mai, I rungi te reo pōhiri o te kahurangi nei e. Hare mai, hare mai, hare mai.
He hōnore he kororia he maunga rongo ki runga ki te mato o te whenua. He whakaaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Arohaina ngā taina me ngā tuakana e noho nei I rungi te whakaaro o tahi. Pai mari.
Please be seated. Kia ora tātou katoa. Nau mai hara mai ki te whare kāwana o Tāmaki Makaurau. Distinguished guests, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Government House for today's investiture ceremony. I'd like to specifically acknowledge Honourable Priyanka Radhakrishnan, Minister of the Crown, Mr Michael Webster, Secretary of the Cabinet, Clerk of the Executive Council, Mr Joe Harawira, Kaumātua, Mrs Rānui Ngārimu Kuia. Hosting investiture ceremonies is one of the most important duties that I perform on behalf of Her Majesty, the Queen of New Zealand. I'm delighted to bring together such an extraordinary group of New Zealanders. You have each brought pride and a greater sense of well-being to Aotearoa New Zealand through your outstanding achievements and your service to our communities. On behalf of all New Zealanders, I extend my sincerest thanks to you for all your contributions. After each recipient is honoured, I invite you all to join with me in congratulating them. Mr Ward Kamo will now summon the recipients and read their citations.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Professor Emeritus Stuart Middleton of Auckland for services to education. Professor Emeritus Stuart Middleton is head of the Centre for Studies in Multiple Pathways at the Manukau Institute of Technology, MIT. He was instrumental in developing the tertiary high school at the MIT Otara campus. He has been significantly involved in Pasifika development programs via MIT. He chaired the establishment committee of the Auckland Māori and Pasifika Trades Training Initiative. He worked with IBM to introduce PTech to New Zealand, aimed at getting Māori and Pacific learners into the technology sector. He chaired the Community Education Trust Auckland, is on the board of Te Aho Te Kura, and has served on several government advisory groups. Professor Middleton co-chaired the Youth Guarantee Advisory Group to support disengaged young persons to gain NCEA Level 2 and prepare them for further education. Professor Emeritus Stuart Middleton, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Tui Ta'alili Vaitavae Aloese Moe of Auckland for services to the Pacific community. Tui Ta'alili Vaitavae Aloese Moe was a registered obstetric nurse with Middlemore Hospital between 1975 and 2000. She discovered that finding Pacific early learning services was a common struggle for young Pacific mothers, so she helped her Samoan Catholic community establish Sangato Josefa Aonga Mata Early Childhood Education. She completed studies in early childhood education and, alongside her Pacific community leaders, established the Māngere Pacific Early Childhood Education Trust and was the inaugural chair with 5 centres established today. She founded the Te Vaisina Trust Board and Whetu Taiala Aonga Mata and opened another Pacific Early Childhood Education Centre in Māngere. She helped establish Mailai Ola Community Centre, which hosts more than 25 Catholic parishes. Ms. Aloese Moe is a Justice of the Peace and a member of the St. Therese Catholic Parish Fundraising Committee. Ms. Tui Ta'alili Vaitavae Aloese Moe, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Nigel Borrell of Auckland for services to Māori art. Nigel Borrell worked on 3 meeting house projects under Tōhunga Whakairo Pakariki Harrison. He was curator Māori art at Auckland Art Gallery, where he curated Toi Tū Toi Ora, the gallery's largest Māori art exhibition. He curated the Māori Portraits Gottfried Lindau's New Zealand, which toured to the Young Fine Arts Museum San Francisco and contributed to the 9th Asia Pacific Triennial in Brisbane. He was involved with the First Nations Indigenous Curators Exchange program between New Zealand, Canada and Australia. He contributed to Becoming Our Future, a publication engaging in the discourse of Indigenous curatorial practice. Mr. Borrell is currently curator Taonga Māori with the Auckland War Memorial Museum. Mr. Nigel Borrell, please come forward. Mrs. Kolokesa Wawha Mahina Tuai of Auckland for services to cultures and the arts. Kolokesa Mahina Tuai works for Langimama Academy and Consultancy, an educational and cultural organisation she co-founded. Her knowledge of Tongan culture and background in art history, anthropology, museum and heritage studies has inspired her cultural and arts advocacy, curatorial practices and writings. She has co-curated exhibitions at the Museum of New Zealand, Te Papa Tongarewa, and the Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology, Cambridge, UK. She values a cross-cultural approach and the importance of looking critically at imposed Western world views on Moana Oceania cultures and art. Mrs. Mahina Tuai has been a guest curator and consultant for the Visible Voices Research Project at Auckland Art Gallery, Toi o Tāmaki. Mrs. Kolokesa Wawha Mahina Tuai, please come forward. Mr. Willie Wright of Whangarei for services to conservation. Willie Wright is Program Manager of the Uri o Hau Integrated Kaipara Harbour Management Group, IKHMG. He is a treaty negotiator for the settlement of Kaipara Harbour and future co-governance of Kaipara Moana. He has led IKHMG in improving water quality and biodiversity outcomes through community action. He has been a catalyst for the development of predator-free kaipara. He has been hands-on in planting thousands of native plants throughout the Kaipara Harbour catchment. He chaired the Northern Conservation Board and has been trustee of the Kaipara District Economic Development Trust. Mr. Wright is a member of Kaipara District Council's Poutu Tarangi Harding Park Joint Management Committee. Mr. Willie Wright, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mr. Ernest Meyer of Auckland for services to the community and education. Ernest Meyer has been a member of the Onehunga Rotary Club since 1971, holding a number of portfolios and leading local projects, such as the construction of the Onehunga High School Adult Learning Centre. He has led the partnership between Rotary, Habitat for Humanity and Onehunga High School, in which students have built one Habitat for Humanity house each year. He was an Onehunga Borough Councillor and represented the Council on the Onehunga High School Board of Governors. He has been a trustee on several local trusts. Mr. Meyer was involved in constructing the Onehunga Senior Citizens Club Hall. Mr. Ernest Meyer, please come forward. Mrs. Maureen Meyer of Auckland for services to the community. Maureen Meyer joined the Onehunga Citizens Advice Bureau in 1979 and retired in 2020. She was a bureau interviewer and held a number of other roles, including secretary and management committee member. She has served on the Royal Oak Primary School and Manukau Intermediate School committees. She has been an elder of the Epsom Presbyterian Church and a member of the Church Finance Committee. She has assisted with the Mainly Music Church Outreach Program for preschoolers. Mrs. Meyer has helped refugees at the Māngere Refugee Reception Centre settle into the community and has taught English as a second language. Mrs. Maureen Meyer, please come forward. Reverend Victor Boesi of Auckland for services to the Samoan community. Reverend Victor Boesi is minister of the Congregational Christian Church of Samoa in Mangere East. He set up a homework centre in the church hall supported by the University of Otago, which has offered scholarships for students. He initiated a playgroup to help families who could not afford local preschools. Well, this has since grown into 2 licensed Samoan bilingual preschools with more than 100 families attending each year. He coordinates 13 Days of Christmas, a program of performances by church and choir groups with meals provided. In 2019, Reverend Boesi hosted a large institutional and careers expo at the church. Reverend Victor Boesi, please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
New Zealand's honours system is our highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces those things that make our society better: service, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of excellence. To our recipients, it has been a privilege to hear your stories. You have each used your talents and abilities to improve the lives of fellow New Zealanders. In doing so, you embody the spirit of the whakatauki. Whaia te iti kahurangi, ki te tū ohu koe me he maunga teitei. Seek the treasure that you value most dearly. If you bow your head, let it be to a lofty mountain. I urge recipients to wear your insignia with pride at every opportunity, knowing that you inspire other people by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements, and I thank you again for your service to our country. Kia ora, hohi mai tātou katoa. You will see on the back of your program the words to the national anthem in Te Reo Māori and in English. I now invite you to stand with me and join in singing the national anthem.
Here